You know that specific sinking feeling you get when a calendar alert pops up on your phone?
Oh, absolutely. The dread.
Right. And you realize you have exactly 1 week to buy a gift for someone you really care about.
Yeah, the clock is just ticking.
It is. And it's supposed to be this, this joyous act of connection, but instead it immediately turns into a looming deadline for a test you definitely didn't study for.
It is a universally relatable flavor of dread, honestly. I mean, we want to be thoughtful. We genuinely want to show appreciation. But the friction of the actual process just completely drains the joy out of the gesture.
That friction is so real. You end up just staring at a blank search bar, waiting for inspiration to strike, feeling guilty that you don't magically know what your sister wants for her 30th birthday.
Right, like you're supposed to be a mind reader.
Exactly. So today we are bringing you a deep dive that is essentially a rescue mission. We are going to pull you out of the black hole of online shopping.
A much-needed rescue mission, I would say.
Definitely. We are unpacking the curation philosophy of a site called Picks by Gift, which you can find at picksbygift.com. Our mission today is to deconstruct their framework for finding the perfect gift and, well, save you from the anxiety of the search bar.
And we really need a new framework because the current approach is objectively failing us. The statistics mapping consumer behavior here are honestly a little startling when you look at the sheer volume of wasted human energy.
Startling is putting it mildly. Listen to this. The average American spends 4.6 hours researching a single gift.
Wow. Over half a workday.
Yes, over half a workday dedicated to buying one item. And during that time, they open an average of 12 browser tabs, read 3 different blog posts with titles like, 50 best gifts for mom, and abandon 2 completely full shopping carts in pure frustration.
That is just exhausting to even think about. But the ultimate tragedy of that 4.6-hour struggle isn't even the lost time, as staggering as that is.
What is it then?
The final result. I mean, after all that exhaustion and cognitive overload, people usually just panic.
Oh, for sure, the panic buy.
Exactly. They buy something entirely generic just to make the task go away.
Right.
And that item inevitably ends up returned, re-gifted, or, shoved into the back of a hallway closet for the next decade.
It's the worst possible return on investment. You spent hours stressing, only to buy a novelty mug that literally just gathers dust.
Because the problem you're facing isn't a lack of options. The internet has infinite options. The problem you are colliding with is a total lack of context.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this moves us from the symptoms of the problem to the flawed mechanics of the modern shopping system itself.
Right.
Going to a traditional search engine or a gift guide isn't just throwing darts in the dark. It's like walking into a massive dark warehouse blindfolded while an algorithm screams trending items at you through a megaphone.
It is a very accurate, albeit terrifying visual.
It really is. If you look at how traditional retail sites are structured, they sort everything by price, by broad category, or by what is currently trending.
What's fascinating here is why that sorting method fails so spectacularly. It fails because human beings do not think about their loved ones in algorithmic categories.
No, we definitely don't.
Right. When you were buying a birthday gift for your sister, you aren't thinking, yes, she is a prime candidate for the trending electronics subcategory under $50.
That would be so weird.
It would. You're thinking about her recent promotion, or how she always complains about her phone dying, or her upcoming vacation.
That is a massive cognitive mismatch. The search engine is optimizing for data, but we are trying to optimize for affection.
Exactly. And those traditional roundups you find on page 1 of a search engine, like the 50 best gifts for her lists, they ignore that human element entirely. They're often just bloated listicles.
Yeah, you see them everywhere.
We have to be honest about what those lists actually are. They are stuffed with affiliate links.
Right, following the money.
The primary goal of those publishers isn't to give you a genuine, durable recommendation. The goal is to cast the widest net possible, throwing 50 random items at the wall, hoping you click something so they earn a commission.
Which perfectly explains the 12 abandoned browser tabs. Those lists aren't curated for the person you love, they're optimized to manipulate search engines.
Precisely.
So we know the traditional sorting mechanism is completely broken. To fix it, the Picks by Gift framework throws out those old variables entirely. Instead of searching by category or price, they replace them with 2 highly specific human variables: recipient and occasion.
Yes.
The who and the when.
It shifts the focus completely from the product to the person.
Right, so variable 1 is who is it for? And the philosophy breaks this down into 21 specific recipient types. We're talking mom, dad, new parents, new grads, retirees.
It gets really granular.
It does. It also segments by lifestyle, so like coworkers, dog people, minimalists, remote workers, foodies. Then variable 2 is what is the occasion? But I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, lay it on me.
Can we really reduce the messy, beautiful complexity of human relationships to,
A math equation.
yeah, a two-dimensional math equation? Crossing who with when sounds a bit, I don't know, clinical, almost robotic.
It sounds clinical until you realize the goal isn't to reduce the person. It's to filter the noise.
Oh, interesting.
Because the internet offers millions of potential items. When you cross these two specific variables, the exact relationship you have with the individual and the specific context of the calendar event, you instantly narrow that massive universe of products down.
Like a funnel.
Exactly.
Right.
In this curation model, it narrows the entire internet down to a highly curated 73 product shortlist. It accounts for constraints, personal preferences, and context in a way that blindly searching gifts for her never could.
I see. So it's not about putting your loved one in a mathematical box. It's about building a customized noise-canceling filter for them.
That's a great way to look at it.
Since we have these two variables, let's really dive into the psychology of that first one, the who.
This is where you see why generic gifts fail so hard. A gift that is a massive tear-jerking success for one profile can be a complete disaster for another, simply because of how they view the world.
Let's test that. Think about the dad profile. The framework notes that dad is notoriously difficult to buy for, largely because he usually actively rejects anything that feels like a traditional gift.
Oh yeah, he's the guy who says, save your money, I don't need anything.
The classic deflection.
He just doesn't want you making a fuss.
But the framework doesn't say give up. It says dad needs highly practical, functional items that bypass his defenses. Things like a Yeti tumbler to keep his coffee hot in the garage, a Theragun Mini for his bad knee, a classic Moleskine notebook, a Snow Peak titanium mug, or a Sonos Roam speaker.
All very solid choices.
But wait, I have to ask, is a Snow Peak titanium mug really a gift? I mean, isn't a plain metal cup kind of a cop-out if he's already actively rejecting presents?
See, that's the beauty of it. It's not a cop-out. It's speaking his exact language. This unpacks the emotional weight of gift reception. For a highly practical person like the dad profile, an overtly sentimental gift, like, say, a customized photo blanket, might actually make him uncomfortable because it doesn't align with how he navigates his daily life.
That makes sense. It feels forced.
Right. But a masterfully engineered, ultra-durable titanium mug that says, I see that you value durability, utility, and quiet quality, and I respect that about you. The mug itself becomes the vehicle for the emotional connection because it doesn't feel like a frivolous gift. It feels like a tool.
Wow. You are gifting him utility, which he interprets as affection. That makes perfect sense.
It's all about translation.
Now contrast that practical utilitarianism with the mom profile. Often, mom fundamentally has everything she needs to survive. A titanium mug isn't going to cut it.
Definitely not.
What she wants is something thoughtful that signals you actually paid attention to her well-being.
The currency for that profile is being noticed.
So the pics reflect that need for care. A Bearby-weighted blanket isn't just a blanket, it's 15 pounds of enforced relaxation.
Sounds amazing, honestly.
Right. Or a high-end diptyque candle is a signaled luxury she might feel too guilty to buy for herself. The Stanley Quencher, a Kindle, or a Barefoot Dreams cardigan, these are items that wrap her in comfort. You're acknowledging she works hard and deserves a break.
Exactly. And then you pivot to a lifestyle profile, like remote workers. They spend more time in their houses than literally anyone else.
They live where they work. So their gifts are pure environment upgrades, an Ember Smart mug because cold coffee is the daily tragedy of back-to-back Zoom calls,
It really is tragic.
a Levoit air purifier, Anchor noise-canceling headphones to block out the chaotic house, a Yoga Sleep white noise machine. You are literally gifting them sanity.
Which is priceless.
And then we hit the Coworker, which feels like walking through a social minefield.
Because the stakes are strangely high while the budget needs to remain low.
Yes. You need an appropriate price range. You can't be overly personal or it's weird, but it still has to be universally usable. So you lean on a Wakako portable espresso maker, a hardcover bestseller to show you respect their intellect, or again, that reliable Yeti tumbler.
You are showing respect without crossing professional boundaries.
The psychology of the recipient dictates the entire category of the object.
Absolutely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. You can perfectly understand the psychology of the person you are buying for, but if you get the timing wrong, the exact same gift will still completely fail.
Context is everything.
That brings us to the second variable, the context of when.
The occasion alters the fundamental DNA of the gesture.
Let's prove that with the occasions mapped out in the framework. Take graduation versus a birthday.
Okay.
Graduation is essentially the occasion of starting over. The person is launching into a completely new phase of life, so the items need to act as a launch pad.
They need momentum.
Exactly. The suggestions reflect that momentum. Away luggage to travel, a Badgey laptop sleeve for a new job, a Kindle for commuting, a Hydro Flask, or high-end Caran d'Ache pencils for a creative grad. You're outfitting them for the future.
But a birthday operates on entirely different emotional logic.
A birthday is one-on-one. It's an intimate celebration of the individual. The recipient doesn't need to launch anywhere. They just need to feel seen right where they are.
They need to be present.
So the recommendations pivot away from momentum and toward presence. A Stanley Cup for their desk, a dip-tight candle, an herbivore body polish for self-care, or a Polaroid camera to capture the immediate moment.
It really is the profound difference between saying, I believe in your future, and saying, I celebrate who you are right now.
The contrasts keep going. Think about Mother's Day versus Christmas.
Oh, completely different vibes.
Completely. Mother's Day is highly sentimental. It's experiential. The pics are that Barbie blanket, the diptyque candle, a coddly face mask. But Christmas is a logistical marathon.
It is a marathon, yeah.
You have a wider overall budget, but you are buying for multiple recipients at once. The gift needs to feel substantial and considered, so the picks naturally shift to tech and bigger investments, a Kindle, AirPods Pro, an Ember mug, an Aura ring.
And we haven't even touched on the intricate constraints of a thank you gift compared to a wedding or housewarming. This is where social rules become very rigid.
Oh, the social debt of a thank you gift. It must be small, highly specific, and absolutely non-generic, usually sitting in that safe $25 to $55 range.
It's a tightrope.
It is, like a Hario V60 pour-over coffee set for a coffee lover, a Bergdorf teapot, or that herbivore body polish. But a wedding or housewarming, that's an infrastructural event.
Infrastructural, I like that.
It's for couples who suddenly need a bunch of highly useful, durable things to build a shared life. Lodge cast iron skillets, a Chemex, a SodaStream, an arc carbonator, a Julissa Baker, a Smeg kettle.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you start to see the invisible rules of social currency at play. Yeah. The occasion obviously dictates the appropriate price range, but more importantly, it dictates the formality level and the emotional weight of the transaction. Giving a newlywed couple a beautifully designed Archie carbonator makes perfect sense. It's a functional appliance for a shared kitchen.
Right.
But imagine giving an Archie carbonator as a simple thank you to a neighbor for dog sitting over the weekend.
That would be so wildly inappropriate. It's way too heavy, way too expensive.
It creates a bizarre social debt. The neighbor feels obligated, the dynamic gets awkward. The Picks by Gift framework succeeds not just by finding good products, but because it inherently respects these invisible social boundaries.
It prevents you from accidentally making things weird with the people you care about. That alone is a massive service.
It really is.
So we've seen how crossing the who and the when filters the internet, but what actually survives this rigorous gauntlet? Let's talk about the 73-item standard.
Capping a recommendation catalog at exactly 73 products is perhaps the most radical rebellion against the modern internet I've seen.
Oh, for sure.
The entire digital economy is built on the premise that more is better.
But more isn't better, it's just exhausting. The catalog is deliberately tiny because every single item has to pass a strict standard. It has to be something the recipient will actually use in their real life. It has to physically hold up over time. And it has to definitively justify its price tag at whatever budget tier it sits in.
No fluff allowed.
Zero fluff. I picture the Picks by Gift curation process like a ruthless bouncer at a very exclusive nightclub.
I love that visual.
Right. The bouncer isn't just checking ID, he's inspecting the stitching, the utility, the longevity. If an item is just going to be a novelty gag that ends up in a landfill in 6 months, the bouncer crosses his arms and says, sorry, novelty singing fish, you aren't getting past the velvet rope tonight.
Which is why the curation relies so heavily on eliminating the mediocre.
Yeah.
The way they break down the surviving items into budget tiers is deeply revealing about how we value goods.
Let's trace how they structure those tiers. They start with the under $30 tier, which they call When Budget Matters. But they prove that inexpensive doesn't mean cheap or thoughtless.
Exactly.
They suggest a hardcover bestseller at $28, which requires almost zero research but universally appeals to an intellect. There's a Zoku slush and shake maker for kids at $22 that actually works instantly, or a Berghoff teapot at $28, which is just a beautifully made object that anchors a daily routine for a tea drinker.
It dismantles the myth that thoughtfulness requires a massive financial flex.
Then we move into the sub $50 tier. This is the realm of the practical, personal, and dust-free.
The daily drivers.
Exactly. The Yeti Rambler 30 ounce at $40, the Stanley Quencher 40 ounce at $45, the Hario V60 Pour Over set for $35, a classic Timex Weekender watch for $39, or a comfier shiatsu back massager for $49.
Items that integrate so seamlessly into a daily routine that the recipient thinks of you every time they use it.
Above that is the $50 to $150 tier, the confident purchase zone. You aren't guessing here. You are investing in known quality.
Right.
The Hydro Flask 32 ounce for $50, the Diptyque Bays candle for $78, Anker Soundcore Life Q35 headphones for $129, giving someone premium noise cancellation without paying the massive brand markup of competitors, or the Fitbit Charge 5 at $149.
Solid investments.
And finally, the Summit, the $150 to $300 tier, known as the statement gift, the Barabee Napper weighted blanket at $279, the Away carry-on luggage at $275, a cashmere plush lounge set at $215.
I love how clear those boundaries are.
Wait a second, I'm tracing the math on these tiers and something isn't adding up.
Oh.
Yeah, looking at the list earlier, we had the Confident tier capped at $150, but the Kindle Paperwhite is $160. Why is it in that middle tier?
Oh.
And looking at the top tier, the Oura Ring Gen 4 is $349. That completely breaks the $300 ceiling of the statement tier. Did they just make a grammatical error in their own framework?
It's not an error at all. It is a brilliant quirk in their logic.
Really?
Yes, it proves that Picks by Gift is not curating based on strict, sterile calculator math. They are categorizing these items based on the psychological feel of the budget.
Oh, the psychological feel.
Think about a Kindle. Even at $160, it feels like a mid-tier, incredibly safe, utilitarian purchase. It doesn't carry the heavy, luxurious emotional weight of a $215 cashmere lounge set.
So the emotional weight overrides the actual dollar amount.
Precisely. And the Oura Ring at $349. It functions socially as a high-end statement gift. It perfectly aligns with the emotional intent of that $150 to $300 bracket, even if it mathematically overflows it by $50. It's categorization driven by human psychology, not by an algorithm spreadsheet.
That is fascinating. The curator is acting like an empathetic human being, recognizing that a $160 e-reader feels fundamentally different than $160 worth of luxury perfume.
It's a subtle distinction, but it's the exact reason why this framework translates so effectively into real-world relationships.
So what does this all mean? We've deconstructed the dread of the calendar alert, the deeply flawed mechanics of affiliate stuffed search engines, the two-variable matrix of crossing the who with the when, and the ruthless standards of the 73-item bouncer.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but the core takeaway for you listening right now is that you can stop agonizing. You do not need to spend 4.6 hours and keep 12 browser tabs open to show someone you care about them.
Thank goodness for that.
You just need to stop searching blindly for things and start looking at the person in front of you.
It is the shift from settling for a generic internet roundup to arriving at a deliberate, honest understanding of your loved one's daily life.
The direct application of this is incredibly freeing. The very next time that calendar alert pops up on your phone, whether it's for your parents' anniversary, a coworker's departure, or your notoriously practical dad's birthday, you now have a mental matrix to cut through the noise.
It's like a superpower.
It really is. Who are they and what is the occasion? You are armed with the tools to bypass the panic entirely.
You know, before we wrap up today, exploring this framework raises a really profound question for me, something that extends far beyond the realm of buying consumer products.
I'm intrigued. Where is your head at?
Well, we've just spent all this time proving how incredibly powerful it is to cross those two variables, who they are with what is the occasion.
Right.
Doing that transforms a generic physical object into a profound gesture of being understood. But what if we applied this exact same two-variable formula to the non-physical things we give?
Like what?
Like, how might this framework revolutionize the way we offer our time, our advice, or our emotional support to the people we love.
Oh, wow. Applying the matrix to empathy.
Think about it. Giving life advice to a new grad who is fundamentally starting over requires a completely different emotional approach than giving advice to a spouse on their birthday who just needs to feel seen, or offering a specific, small gesture of support to a coworker versus a heavy foundational commitment to a newlywed couple. The occasion alters the DNA of the emotional support we offer just as much as it alters the physical gift.
That is an incredible thought to leave on. We can be just as precise, just as deliberate, and just as curated with our empathy as we are with our wallets. Next time that calendar alert pops up, remember, you don't need a search engine, you just need context.